Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
Cruising your way on this episode of Off 90. Meet a group of present-day cowboys and cowgirls who could outdraw any outlaw from the Old West. Learn about one of the most fascinating and unique geological attractions in the United States. See what it takes to run a successful winery in our climatically challenging state. It's all just ahead, Off 90. Hi, I'm Barbara Keith. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Off 90. Have you ever had a hankering to live like one of your favorite Western movie characters? You aren't alone. Cowboy shooting action is an activity designed to make people feel as though they're living as real Western heroes, complete with live ammunition. We went to Morristown, where this year's Regional Cowboy Shooting Action Championship was held. Let me tell you, partner, it was a real hootenanny. Or maybe I should say, shootenanny.
They come in for the guns because they like the guns. They find out they like to shoot. But they come back for the people. They always come back for the people, and everybody loves it. Cowboy action shooting is basically, we get to dress up like cowboys, like when we dreamed as kids watching the Roy Rogers and Dale Evans, Sky King. It's a dangerous sport to a point. We're shooting real guns with real bullets at targets. This isn't reenactment shooting or stage shooting. We're shooting real guns with real bullets. And it's fun. At this cowboy shoot that we have here, we have to go by their rules. The one thing about SAS is they came up with the same rules that everybody applies for. SAS stands for Single Action Shooting Society. I have traveled to Texas, I have traveled to California with my guns and shot competitions there. I know the rules, we all play by the same rules, so you can then compete there and meet some new friends that you never knew you had. Not only do we have something in every state in the United States, we've got Canada, we have Europe, Japan has some style of it of their own. Basically, when you do cowboy action shooting, you have to pick an alias that nobody else has. There's people I have shot with for 7, 8 years. I really don't know what their names are. I don't know what they do for a business. You know them as their cowboy aliases. And so you put on that new face so you can have your own personality here. And when you see them outside of cowboy shooting, you go, I know you, but from where? SAS, they developed a sport, and then they basically started assigning numbers to people. Judge Roy Breen, SAS #1, one of the original people. He's here at our regional shoot this year, and be a good person to talk to.
My name is Harper Hale Cray from Houston, Texas, and I've been a member of cowboy action shooting since day one. Well, I was born back in 1936. Knew a few old cowboys. I was born outside, a little outside of Houston. And one day I just wanted to set up a sport for the whole family. And so I always liked the Old West. I had some cowboy guns, single action, lever action rifles. So one day I decided to set up a match with using the old Cowboy guns. Everybody enjoyed it, we had fun. Well, it was a local California deal and went all over the country. Then it went worldwide. Next thing you know, we're here. You come to a SAS event, what you're going to see is a lot of people in the Old West clothing. You're going to see the attitude change. You're going to see a lot of yes ma'ams, no ma'ams. You're going to see politeness, tip your hat to the ladies, holding the door open for ladies. And you're going to see a lot of exciting shooting. You're going to see a lot of accuracy shooting with the old guns of around 1900 and before. And you're going to see a lot of skill, a lot of young men that are really doing things that probably Wyatt Earp never heard of or even dreamed of with a handgun. And basically, you're going to see people having fun. It's just like somebody said, it's like a family reunion where you like everybody.
We actually got 14 stages here. Every stage is different. It has a different flavor, a different facade of a building or something like that. And basically, again, they're all pretty much, the shooting's the same. There's 10 pistol, 10 rifle, 4 shotgun. But sometimes you have to shoot the pistols from this window, the shotgun from that window, and the rifle from over there. Sometimes you have to go down range and shoot. We have a bank, we have a hotel, we have a saloon that you shoot through. We got, the city jail. Look at all that stuff. The targets are all movable, so every time we shoot, we try to put them in a different location, so that every time you shoot a stage, it's different. So basically, it's not you're standing in one spot and shooting this, shooting that, and shooting that. You actually got to move. It's called Cowboy action. We need to move. When you're all done there, then you pick up your guns, you get the timer operator, he picks up your last concussions, you got it down to the 100th of a second, how long you took, he reports that to the scorekeeper. Then he checks with the spotters, because there's 3 people watching you to make sure you hit every target. If you don't, they'll hold up 1 finger, 2 fingers, 10 fingers if you have a bad day, to see how many misses you have, because every miss costs you 5 seconds.
1703-1703, spotters say please. Nice run.
Is one of the fast shooters did one of the stages that took me 28 seconds, did it in 12 something. So, and it's all personal competition. If people do it longer, shorter. It's just what can you do and have fun. Well, with here, you gotta remember, we're shooting bullets, real guns, real bullets, very loud, and we really require ear protection. We're shooting lead bullets at steel targets. You are gonna get some bounce back, you are gonna get some splatter, it's gonna come back and hit you. So we always have safety glasses, and usually we have to have side shields on them, because if you turn sideways, it still could get into your eyeball. The idea is to have fun. That's our first thing. Have fun and be safe is our motto here.
I petitioned SAS for a couple other names of cowboys in movies that I wanted. They were all taken. And the young lady at the SAS headquarters suggested I name myself after the area that I'm living in. So the Cascade Mountains were right outside my window in Portland, Oregon. So I said, Cascade Charlie, that's going to be me. So I went to the sporting goods store in Portland, and I want that one right there. I've always loved lever guns. So I pulled one down, and then when I asked to get some bullets to go with it, he said, we're all out. The cowboys have got all the bullets. I said, cowboys? What? You got cowboy shooters? He said, oh yeah, there's cowboy shooting all around here. So he gave me a couple names of people to go look for, and I got into it, and that was in 2002. Haven't looked back since. It's been a thrill every weekend since then. There's world-class shooters here, and it's just fun to be with people like that. Yes, there are a lot of people that we've met here before, but we always make new friends too.
Niagara Cave is one of the most fascinating and unique geological attractions in the United States. In fact, it has been rated one of the top 10 caves in America by many outdoor activity rating sites. During the guided tour, visitors will witness an underground stream leading to a waterfall nearly 60 feet high, stalactites both delicate and massive, several fossils that have been dated to over 400 million years old, and many other intriguing natural marvels.
A woman came in and asked to purchase a ticket and said that she would like to see the cave because it was rated one of the top 10 caves in the country. And I said, really? I said, how did you hear about that? She said she saw it in the newspaper.
My name is Ryan Bishop. I'm a tour guide down at Niagara Cave in Harmony, Minnesota. This cave was formed by an ancient underground river that carved out these passageways. A lot of our visitors come to see the underground waterfall. It's kind of the unique feature of the cave. That's why the cave was named Niagara Cave, after the waterfall. And then the water does flow over a 60-foot drop. It is very rare to have an underground stream flowing through a cave that people can access and actually see for themselves. The limestone is about 450 million years old. It was laid down when a shallow sea used to cover this Midwestern area here. And everything that lived in the sea, the plants and the animals, when they died, they fell to the bottom and their bodies built up over each other over a long period of time. And it became rock. And we have a lot of evidence of the ancient life preserved today as fossils. This cave had began forming thousands of years ago during the ice ages when glaciers covered most of northern Minnesota. And each summer, when the glaciers melted, some of that water came down here to this part of Minnesota. Over time, water worked its way through cracks in the rock. It eventually formed into an underground stream that carved out these passageways.
I'm Mark Bishop, owner of Niagara Cave. Well, the cave was discovered in 1924. This area where the building sits and parking lot was a farmer's pasture, and the farmer that operated the land noticed he was missing 3 of his pigs. So he sent his 2 nephews who lived across the road and his hired hand to go track the pigs down, and they discovered the cave by locating the pigs in this sinkhole that the pigs had fallen into. And so they went to rescue the pigs, and lo and behold, there wasn't a huge cave system below there. 3 gentlemen from Decorah, Iowa, Joe Flynn, Leo DeKip, and Al Kramer, were businessmen down in Decorah and also cavers. And they came and explored the cave. And it was those 3 gentlemen that decided to get permission from the landowner to develop it commercially. So they did that in the 30s and opened it in 1934. And they were the operators of the cave. There's been just 3 cave owners since 1934. And with my background in physical geography and environmental studies, it seemed like a perfect fit. I love caves, purchased it in 1995 and been running it since.
A tour on this cave will take you on about a mile walk, round trip. You go half a mile into the cave, then you turn around at the end and come back out the same way. You descend to about 200 feet below the surface, and you'll be in an environment that is 48 degrees constantly all year round.
The second layer here with all the pockmarks in it, that is called the Stewartville layer.
My favorite feature would probably have to be some of the fossils that we have. I really like fossil hunting as a child, and coming down here, every time I look for fossils, I can find new ones that I've never seen before, and I've been down here hundreds of times.
We have the cave formations, the stalactites, stalagmites, other caves, formations that you see in typical limestone caves. And just the unique shape of the cave makes it a very special place. Also, we have a wedding chapel in the cave. Over 400 weddings have been performed there since 1934. We have a guest book inside, and we have visitors that sign our guest book that come from usually between 60 and 90 different countries, and all 50 states typically on a given year. Yeah, I have two sons that one has just finished his degree in geology, and the other one will have his degree in about 6 months from now. They grew up in the cave, and I've taken the caves in Europe and Central America and all of the United States as well. So yeah, they're very interested in caves and geology.
I got my degree in geology from the University of Hawaii. I did spend a lot of time down here growing up, and I was fascinated by fossils. And I always crawled into every crack and crevice I could find down here when I was a kid. This is where I grew up. You know, this was my basement.
Anybody passionate enough about something has wondered what it's like to turn that love into a business. And that's exactly what the owners of Four Daughters Vineyard and Winery did. As you might suspect, Minnesota's climate doesn't lend itself well to the growing of grapes. Learn about how these winemakers from Spring Valley were able to launch a successful business in rural Minnesota.
Winemaking is science, it's art, and it's business. The wine industry in Minnesota right now is improving. People are getting better, and it's happening quickly. It's not just the big getting bigger, there are wineries popping up all over the place and they're making it.
My name is Vicki Vogt. I'm the mother of the four daughters here, and this is my baby, this winery. My husband and I have farmed for 35 years. So we farm corn and soybeans, and he always wanted someone to be in agriculture with him, but the girls didn't want to do that. So I was really excited to come up with a plan to bring them back and into some form of agriculture. I said, who's in? And I got 2 of them back home. So 2 out of 4 is good. We don't have any sons, we only have daughters. Justin is my son-in-law. When I asked who was going to be in for the winery, when I did the original business plan and said, this is what I want to do, and I said to Justin, would you like to be our winemaker? Last year, our first year out of the gate, Justin won the Governor's Cup, which is really unheard of.
My name is Justin Osborne, and I'm the winemaker at Four Daughters Vineyard and Winery. I'd never made wine before in my life. I went to winemaking school for a while before I even decided, like, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. The new press is actually really exciting for me because it's about almost 4 times larger than our press that we had before, and pressing is one of the most time-consuming processes at harvest. I'll be here until 4 a.m. on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, just pressing. The first step of making wine would be the crusher to stemmer. It takes the stems off of the grapes and it breaks the skin of the berry. And from there, the crusher to stemmer will put out something called grape must, M-U-S-T. Grape must is pumped from the crusher to stemmer into the press. Fresh grape juice is then pumped into a tank where we will hold it for a couple of days, and we will let that grape juice settle. We'll leave the sediment behind, take the good juice, and then we will start fermenting that. You got a great research institution like the University of Minnesota just creating an industry, not just here, but they created an industry in Wisconsin, in Vermont, in Maine, in North Dakota, and Montana, all these places. This wine industry sprang from nothing in the past 20 years, all because the University of Minnesota bred a few grapes.
At this point, there's over 50 wineries in Minnesota. It turns out that our climate is actually quite conducive to grape growing. We have a lot of sunshine during the season. We have plenty of warm weather. So there's no reason we can't grow grapes here as long as we get them to survive our winters. I'm Peter Hempstead from the University of Minnesota, and I'm the grape breeder here. In the past, most people have covered up their grapevines over the winter in order to get them to survive, kind of the way some people do with rose bushes. But there's a limit to how many grapevines you want to go out and cover up over the winter. So now that we have varieties like Frontenac Gris here that can survive 35 below zero and make an excellent wine, it really puts our industry on a level playing field with many of the other states. We've had the goal of combining extreme cold hardiness with high wine quality and disease resistance. What we do is conventional plant breeding, just like you would with an apple or any number of other crops. It's quite a long process. It takes roughly 15 years because there's a lot of testing involved. These are actually some of the most cold hardy grapes in the world.
As a family farm winery, we are allowed to operate outside of the three-tier system where all alcohol producers have to sell to a distributor who then sells to a liquor store. We can self-distribute, so we can go direct to the liquor stores. It's one of the benefits that the Minnesota legislature has given us to help us succeed. We can be open on Sundays. 51% of your products have to be from Minnesota-grown produce. That's kind of a tough one. It's kind of a challenge because with the Minnesota grape industry or wine industry being what it is, grapes are becoming harder and harder to come by in this state. There's probably 20 different people that grow grapes for us. So our vineyard is 6 acres. Majority of our relationships are within ma and pa growers that are within 50 miles of here. We have Edelweiss in our vineyard, but we don't have enough for the quantity of Edelweiss wine that we want to make. So we contract with a different vineyard growing Edelweiss. And so on Saturday, what we're doing is we've got volunteers coming and they're working with our vineyard manager, picking our Edelweiss, and at the same time, our other vineyards picking their Edelweiss, and they will deliver it here, hopefully about the same time that our grapes are coming in, and then we will put the 2 lots together and crush and destem them and start making Edelweiss wine. That's the cold hardy side. The non-cold hardy side is we also have contracts with vineyards in California. And so we have purchased a large quantity of Muscat grapes for making Moscato, and they're sending our first truckload on Saturday. So we will be receiving about 40,000 pounds of Muscat grapes.
This one is at 18 and this one is at 19. So. This weekend we're having our annual Grape Stomp Festival. We have a bunch of Brianna grapes that were left over, and we didn't need them for our winemaking process, so we're stomping them today.
What's coming out now, girl? Go, go, go!
It's just because you have the recipe doesn't mean you're a chef. I make wine for the customers that come in. You know, I really don't make wine for my taste. I know what people here like. Like I have a wine where it's like, this wine is going to win some competitions just like this. But that's not what the customers want. So I'm going to forego the gold medal and, you know, change it just a little bit so that we sell more out the front door. I think a majority of our customers want a sweeter and fruity wine, white wine. People really like it if you have a wine that smells like a particular fruit. Most people we get here are novice and they want to take that first step towards, you know, being a wine aficionado. We had a wine called La Crescent, which is a kind of grape, and that won the Governor's Cup last year. The Governor's Cup is given for the best wine in Minnesota. The reason that one won is, besides being a well-made wine, you're like 3 feet away from me now. I could smell that wine in your glass from here. And so that's one thing I always try and focus on is wines that have powerful aromas. We're trying to build a wine economy here in Minnesota, and 3 years ago it was, you know, there were 5 to 10 wineries making good wine, and now there's like 20 to 30. People are figuring it out. There are more people with education, coming into the industry. There's people from California moving back here. We'll see how big it can get. There's like an arms race. I mean, we are amping up. I mean, that press we got, that new thing, that's huge. We're planning on doing really big volumes here. People are making millions of bottles of wine across our borders, and there's no reason why we couldn't do that as well.
That's all for this episode. Please help Off 90 meet its financial obligations by becoming a member of KSMQ Public Television. Give us a call at 800-658-2539 or sign up online at ksmq.org. Thanks for watching. Join us next time, Off 90.
Funding for Off 90 is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.